What is up, homies? My name is Felix and I'm here back again with another video for you all today. And today in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to program realistic sounding drums in whatever DAW you might be using. So if you're trying to make drums inside of your DAW that sound like a real drummer is actually playing them and they just sound super robotic and you're not really getting the type of feel that you're going for, then this right here is the video for you. I'll be honest, there's going to be quite a little bit of secret sauce in here, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produced, my Beatstore, my Discord, all that stuff. Go check those out if you'd like to do so. And now we can get into this video. Alright, so here we are inside FL Studio, but like I said, this will apply to literally any DAW that you're using. So the first big thing here is you want to pick good drum sounds. So if you don't have good drum sounds to begin with, the whole thing is going to fall apart. So if you're going for realistic sounding drums, obviously you're going to want drums that sound realistic, like some acoustic drum samples type things. And not just good sounds, but you want sounds that sound good together. So ideally, you want to get drum samples that sound like they're recorded from the same drum kit, or at least somewhat similar. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, but at least try to get drum samples that fit well together. So I'm going to go through and pick a couple sounds right now. One kit that's actually really good for finding these type of acoustic drum samples is my new drum kit. Alright, so I just picked 3 drum sounds, made a really simple pattern. One thing that you can do to make your drums sound a lot less robotic, and I've talked about this before, is just record everything live using a MIDI keyboard or just your regular keyboard. And just by doing that, you're going to get a lot more variation within the velocities and the start times of all the notes and everything. And it's just going to sound much more human. So yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Alright, so as you can see now, the drum pattern is already a lot more unique and human sounding. And obviously you don't have to leave it like this because there's going to be a few errors here and there that you don't like and you want to change, which is perfectly fine. So for example, some of these hi-hats are way before the line, so I'll just bring some of these after like that. So I changed a couple things here and there, but one thing I want to focus on now is the hi-hats, because honestly the hi-hats are like the biggest part of this in my opinion. I feel like if you get the hi-hats right for this, you're going to have a way better sound than you started with. So when you're trying to program drums that sound realistic, sound like a real drum kit, it might sound pretty obvious, but try to think of how a real drummer would play the drums. So try to keep in mind the way a drummer is going to hit like the hi-hats, or way they're going to hit the snare, certain accent notes and things like that. Just little nuances that come in when you're actually playing the drums. So that's kind of the perspective that you want to have on this, that you're actually trying to recreate a real drummer. So when it comes to the hi-hats, there's a few special little things that you're going to want to do. So the first one obviously is the one that everybody knows of, and I've kind of already done it because of the way that I actually played the hi-hats, but you're going to want to alter the velocity of every other hi-hat note. So we're going to have this one that's higher up and then bring this one down a little bit, this one higher up, bring this one down, this one higher up, this one down. Another thing you can do is time shift your hi-hats over a little bit, and that's going to give your drums a much more sloppier human type feel. So if we move it over quite a bit like this, one thing that I actually like to do is move over every other one like this. So now another really underrated thing that I don't see very many people talk about is going to be the pitch. So when you're actually playing hi-hats on a real drum kit, when you strike the hi-hat a little bit harder, it's going to be higher in pitch, and when you hit it a little softer, it's going to be a little bit lower in pitch. Not super crazy or anything, don't even so much as change it by like a half step or anything, but just minor little adjustments. So if you go down here to the velocity thing, you hit control, you can go to note find pitch. So for this one, I'm going to bring it up just a little bit like this, and then bring this one just a little bit down. Bring this one a little bit up. And like I said, keep this really minimal, because if you go over like 30, 40 cents, it's going to start to sound a little bit weird and a little bit strange. So just keep it very, very light. All right, so now pretty much the last thing you're going to want to do with your hi-hats is change the attack. So again, if you think about a real hi-hat, when you hit it harder, it's going to have a much more sharper sound right at the beginning than if you hit it really softly. So what we're going to do is on the accenting notes of the hi-hats, the ones that have the velocity lowered, we're going to raise the attack up just slightly so that they don't have as much of a sharp sound at the beginning. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to activate this envelope here, and then we're going to bring the attack all the way down. And now what we're going to do is right click and then hit A on our keyboard, and now we're going to put this down here and put the pattern in here. So now you're just going to make a pattern that looks kind of like this. But now if you notice, when we play this, that second hi-hat note in there has disappeared, and the reason for that is because the attack is too long. So what we have to do is just bring this down a lot, like very, very small. And then once you figure out kind of the sweet spot for where the attack should be, it's probably going to be around like 5%, 7%, really nothing crazy at all. You're just going to copy that over for the rest of the pattern like this. Then with your kick and snare, there's a couple things you can do as well. Like if you have a kick where it goes like this, there's like a double hit kind of thing. What I would recommend is lowering the velocity of the first one, because that's kind of just how a drummer would actually play that. Same thing with the snares. If you have any accent snares or anything like that, lower the velocity of those. All right, so right now where we're at, these drums sound pretty good. They're not bad or anything. I added in an open hi-hat here, and what you want to do when you have an open hi-hat is cut out the closed hi-hat like this, because obviously if you're playing an open hi-hat, you can't play a closed hi-hat at the same time. But now what we're going to do is add a little bit of the secret mixing sauce that's going to help you to kind of bring all your drums together. So we're going to assign all of our drums to a mixer track with Control L, and then you just want to do like some basic leveling and stuff. So now what you got to do before you do anything else is take all of these sounds and route them all to one mixer, or make like a bus or whatever it's called inside your DAW. The way you do it in FL Studio is just select all of these and then find a random empty mixer track, right click on the bottom here, and then just do route to this track only. And now all of these will be routed to this one track, and you can rename this or color it or whatever you want to do. So now that we have all the samples in one track, the goal here is to make it sound like all of these sounds were recorded from the same drum kit and the same environment and the same room and everything like that. So what I like to do first is just put a reverb on this thing, and you want to make it like a small room type of reverb. In FL Studio, there's a preset called Small Studio or Drum Room. For this one, I'll just pick Drum Room. Obviously, you need to adjust the settings depending on what your track calls for. The next step that I like to do here is put a compressor on all this stuff, and a compressor that's also like a saturation plugin. So probably like some sort of waves plugin compressor or something like that. There's also a pretty good free compressor that's called MJUC compressor. Is pretty good. Another good one to use in conjunction with this is, it's called IVG i2. It's from the same company, and this one has a little bit more of like a saturation effect to it, I feel like. If you want to, you can also put something like RC20 or like Reels or something like that, just to make it sound a little bit more gritty and like it was recorded maybe to tape or, you know, whatever else. But kind of the way of thinking here is that since these are going through the same compressors and the same reverb and everything, they're all going to sound like they're coming from the same source, I guess. And then also the reason I did the reverb first is because this reverb is supposed to emulate like the actual sound of the room. So if you think about it in a real studio or a real drum recording environment, the microphones are going to be picking up the noise from the room as well as the drum kit, and then they're going to be running that through a compressor. So that's basically what we did here. All right, so at this point we've got this little drum loop going on, and it sounds pretty realistic if you ask me. Personally, I think that sounds pretty good, and I know I'm showing you guys this with like some, you know, boom bap style drums, but you can do this with pretty much any type of drums you want. All the same things that I showed you are gonna apply. Right here, I used the exact same drums, but I just made a little like rock / pop punk type drum pattern. But yeah, honestly, that is pretty much going to do it for me in this video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you were able to learn a thing or two from this tutorial. I know it was nothing really too crazy here today, but just a little info, a little secret sauce that I wanted to share with you guys. So yeah, I hope you found it somewhat useful. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have any good, you know, secret sauce drum tips that you'd like to share. But yeah, make sure you guys check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with playlists of songs I produce, my Beatso, my Discord, all that stuff. Go check it out if you'd like to do so. feezostore.com. Cop yourself some fire drip, and I will see you guys next time.
Energy critical, I think we both need some saving.